Hello and welcome, Exiles, to the day 2 update to the Archmage Stormweaver character. We are currently at a slash blade of 19 hours and 47 minutes, almost 20 hours, not the prettiest. And we have currently done up to Act 2, and we're just at the start of it here, about to do the Quarry zone. Our gear is this. I'm going to hover over it real quick. Most of it is just rares with like mana and res, nothing too crazy, just stuff I found throughout the campaign. And I purchased an Adziri's Disdain. I'm not sure about this helmet. I feel like it could be decent. I believe, since we don't have really much percent life scaling at all, that this 280 ADS is just pure flat ES. And a fun little thing I want to note here is I have Eldritch Battery clicked. There's something interesting I'm seeing going on with how they've changed conversion and gain mod. And as far as I can tell, they no longer chain together, but they happen in like separate instances. So what it does is it says, okay, how much ES did you have at base? I'm going to convert that. Then it says, how much life do you have? I'm going to give you that much as ES. So it doesn't go where we get 288 flat ES and then that gets converted to mana. It's done in a separate step, which means potentially we can click Eldritch Battery, still have a decent amount of mana pool, and then with sources like this, potentially we can still have an ES pool as well, which I'm going to look into, I'm going to think about. But anyways, I just wanted to highlight that. Not necessarily sure this is going to be something we're going to use going forward, but I'm going to test it out and see if we can end up speccing a couple ES nodes, how that will feel. For example, just these two nodes here would probably take this number closer to 400 ES. So I'm going to test some things out and see how it goes. We are trying out Eldritch Battery mainly because I want to see if we can go a higher DPS route. Archmage and the damage per mana and the Arcane Surge effect is all dependent on how much mana you have. So potentially this could be a much higher DPS route, going Eldritch Battery over not. The downside is you obviously lose a large amount of defensive scaling, losing your ES. So I'm going to test some things out and see what makes sense. Don't necessarily copy this right away, but I'm just trying out some things. This is the tree we swapped over to. I'm starting to spec into a lot more recovery rate. I'm probably going to grab Open Mind next. And then potentially I might consider Mind over Matter unless I can get a considerable ES pool. We are almost to the level where we get Archmage. I think it's at about 58. And then as for our gems real quick, I'm going to show you, case you. I haven't tested this setup yet. I'm going to try out a Ball Lightning setup with slower proj, or it's called Deceleration, Arcane Tempo, which is faster casting, and Unleash, which is basically just more Ball Lightnings on the field. And we have a Cast on Shock with Lightning Conduit and Impestus for more energy gain. And then Rising Tempest, I might end up swapping this out. I'm not sure if this is actually what I'm going to be using. And then we have a Conductivity Curse and Mana Tempest, which is something we use with the Premeditation support, which gives us 15% more damage. Essentially, whenever I cast Mana Tempest, I get a big damage multiplier on my character. I don't know if that's even going to show up here. Let's see if it shows up. Yeah, you can see the number go up on the DPS chart. So anyways, that is our current setup, and that's what we're looking at doing. Potentially, we might end up trying out some other skills. Once we get to Archmage, I believe we can start trying out different skills outside of the element, because we'll have a bunch of gain lightning, so we can start trying things like Eye of Winter, Comet, stuff like that. But I'm not going to do that until I get to Archmage. So anyways, that is the rough tree outline. That's our gear outline. Those are our gems. Also supports, we have Font of Mana and Overabundance on Orb of Storms. Cast on Shock, I already showed you. Conductivity is Heightened Curse and some Duration. Side note, previously what I've done with this character has been Spark. Spark has felt the best to me, but I'm trying out a new skill now. I know for sure Spark would work, and if you did Spark, it would be the same supports here, except instead of Deceleration, I would use Persistence over here, and I just wouldn't have Persistence on Conductivity. And yeah, so that's the current situation. Let's go ahead and see how we do in the Quarry. Full disclosure, I've been playing all yesterday as controller, and the first day I played on mouse, and now I'm trying out click to move like normal, PoE, and we'll see how this ends up feeling. And I already can tell... I think I'm gonna want to do I think I'm gonna want to do for sure click to our Wazda. This just feels quite a bit weaker in terms of like I have to stand still to shoot, versus on Wazda I can move the entire time. So I think I might be sold on the Wazda angle. Okay, and then now we do... Yeah, this should be fine, right? This is our lightning warp if I want it. This is this. Okay. I'm going to put this, end up being closer because I'm going to cast this more often. And we'll put this over here for conductivity. Okay, that should be fine for us. And we'll put this over here. Lightning orb I'll keep there if I want it. Okay. Right out of the gate, I gotta be honest, this character already I'm thinking I might be going back to Spark. This is just right out of the gate, I'm like, I'm not sure this is gonna be as good as Spark was. Because I haven't tried out Ball Lightning yet with the higher level gems and with Lightning Conduit, but this is, I gotta be honest, quite a bit worse than Spark already. So I think we're gonna swap to Spark and we're gonna go with that. Ball Lightning, I don't know. Maybe I need the reduced prod speed supports. I'm not 100% sure, but we're gonna try doing this here. We're gonna keep with the cast speed and the unleash. We're gonna swap over to persistence. And I think we're going to go back to what I had earlier, which was Arc instead of Lightning Conduit. So far, I haven't been too impressed by Lightning Conduit. And we're just going to see how this performs versus what we're doing currently. We'll swap in Lightning Pen for the Arc. All right, let's see how this feels. See if I'm crazy or this does end up feeling better. Oh, I got to remember how to cast these. You gotta forgive me, I've gotten too used to playing on the controller, so I'm like forgetting some of my keybinds right now, but essentially you do Orb of Storms, you do Mana Tempest, and then you stay within those, and then you can do Spark from there. Mana Tempest gives you fork on your Spark. It also gives your Orb of Storms, I think, a chain. So when you're dealing with multiple monsters dealing with trying to clear, it pairs much more nicely, if you will. I was basically playing controller. I was going to do that yesterday because we didn't have trade up. And controller is really bad for trading. At least in my experience, it's quite bad for trading. So I wanted to take the time to try to take advantage of the fact that we didn't have trade anyways yesterday. And that's why I was playing with controller. But so it's going to take me a bit more getting used to playing Wazda again, but it should be fine. But yeah, that's our current setup. I think we're missing out a ton of power right now in that we don't have Archmage yet. I have a bunch of sustain. I haven't even clicked Mind Over Matter, which I might end up clicking. It depends how I end up feeling defensively about stuff. But a large amount of our power on this character is completely 100% high Dark Mage, which we don't get until level 58, and even then we might not get it if we don't have the what's it called? We don't have the Spirit for it. So that is the biggest thing we need to swap to right now is just Archmage. We'd be able to put that on and it would give us over 100% gain lightning as extra. And it would start freeing us up to try different elemental type skills, I think, which could be potentially a big gain for us damage-wise. I'm pretty freaking pumped about it. Sorry about my voice and see me tired. This is a thing that happens on league starts for me for PoE where I don't get the best sleep. It's like I try to go to bed, you know, sleep like a normal human, but then I start just thinking about like theory crafting, like the build I'm gonna make and stuff, and I just get it's just a bit harder to turn off my brain, if that makes sense. Like actually be able to turn off my brain and just enjoy what I'm currently doing, if that makes any sense. If you've ever felt that, hopefully you understand what I'm talking about. Dang, this is a massive zone. Are we close to where we're supposed to be? Hopefully so. But yeah, anyways, you can see the playstyle is basically just 3 buttons for the most part. It's Mana Tempest, it's Orb of Storms, and it's just... You combine those 3, you get a nice little clear, you start shocking enemies, start proccing your cast on shock. We have Arc on there. I think Arc's the best one I've tried so far, but I was trying Lightning Conduit out a little bit. Eventually, we might start doing a, let's say a cast on crit or a cast on freeze, depending if we are able to swap into some of the cold skills. We'll try some different stuff out there. I think it'll be a lot of fun. I'm gonna go ahead and maybe run this zone, and I'll give you guys a look at doing a boss fight on this character so you can see that as well, and we'll cut to that. All right. Okay, now we're at the boss. It's basically just a combination of Orb of Storms, putting down a curse, and then Mana Tempest, or DPS combination. Usually that boss doesn't hurt us too much with those attacks, but the thing we really care about that we want to dodge is the melee. If the melee gets us, we are going to get absolutely destroyed. And then whenever we run out of mana, Mana Tempest. Okay, Gundam so we can get a DPS window in. Oh my word, so close. All right, hold on. This time we're gonna do that, but without dying. That melee attack does so much damage. We're about to get a lot of defense when I start investing into more ES. I just did the one ES node that I leveled up when I was coming here. And we got, how much did we get from that? 100 ES from it or something? We're at 370 now. Have enough DPS? We do have enough DPS, okay. Ooh, dude, that boss is sketch. That melee attack, I'm really bad at freaking navigating it, but hopefully we're gonna get to the point where we can just face tank getting hit by that thing, because it hits really dang hard. Right now, obviously, our EHP or ES is pretty scuffed, I think, personally, and we want to improve on that. Just between when I was talking to you earlier and when we got here now, I grabbed one passive point, and we went from 280 or whatever to 372. So I'm thinking we can maybe start actually getting a little bit of more of an ES barrier along with the mana investment. I'm not convinced Eldritch Battery is correct. I'm going to keep testing out some different things and see what works. Ultimately, now that Trade's back on, we can start actually looking up and seeing if there's some uniques that would work really well synergistically to get to some defense. We might end up being able to change our tree around some more. I'm going to keep working with it, and I'm going to keep updating you guys. Hopefully on the next update, we'll have some fairly solid upgrades to the character, because we're actually going to be able to get to Archmage, which is where the majority of our damage is. We were able to kill that boss fairly fast, but Archmage, I think, is going to double to like triple our damage when we first get to click it. So that'll be a very, very big upgrade for the character. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the update. As always, thanks for watching, Exiles. Take care and peace out. Have a good one.